Imagine sitting in a crowded restaurant, your hands trembling as you balance a tray of hot coffee and pastries, while a billionaire at the next table laughs, not with you, but at you. Now imagine he does it in a language he believes you don't understand, German. He mocks your shoes, your accent, your cheap perfume, and yet you smile, because you know something he doesn't. What happens next will leave every soul in that restaurant stunned, and him speechless. This is not just a story about wealth or class, it's about dignity, hidden strength, and the power of a woman who refuses to be small. The cafe on Berlin's Friedrichstrasse buzzed with its usual morning chaos. The hiss of espresso machines, the clink of porcelain, and the hum of conversation in a dozen languages. Amid the rush, Lena Weber, a 26-year-old waitress, moved like poetry. Her hair tied in a messy bun, her uniform slightly worn at the edges, but her eyes, soft, intelligent, and deep, carried a quiet grace that made people pause. Most saw her as just another face behind the counter, a girl taking orders and smiling through exhaustion. No one knew she was once a linguistic student, fluent in 5 languages, who had to leave university after her father's sudden death left her family drowning in debt. That morning, the air shifted when Alexander von Richter walked in, a man known across Europe as one of the youngest billionaires in real estate. Tall, sharp-suited, and followed by whispers of money, arrogance, and charm. He entered like he owned the world. Maybe he thought he did. When Lena approached his table with her notepad, he glanced up, smirked, and switched to German, thinking she wouldn't understand. Sieht aus, als ob sie nicht einmal genug verdient, sich new Schuhe leasen. He murmured to his business partner, laughing softly. Was? Looks like she can't even afford new shoes. His friend chuckled, adding, Vielleicht sollt sie uns den Kaffee schenken, ein Trinkgeld zu verdienen. So maybe she should serve us coffee for free to earn a tip. Lena's heart clenched. The words burned, but she didn't flinch. Instead, she smiled, that same polite, practiced smile, and served their coffee perfectly, her hands steady. Inside, though the storm was raging, she thought of her father, who always told her, dignity, Lena, never lose it. The world can take your money, your title, even your dreams, but never your dignity. So she stood taller. She thanked them in English and walked away. But her mind was already turning. Later, as fate would have it, the billionaire's card was declined when he tried to pay. The system had frozen due to a fraud alert. His assistant panicked. Lena watched quietly from the counter. He looked around, uncomfortable now, his arrogance slipping. Lena walked over and said softly, Don't worry, sir. It happens to everyone. She paid for the coffee herself, a small gesture, but one that stung his pride. As he left, he turned back once, almost embarrassed, but couldn't bring himself to apologize. He didn't know it yet, but that waitress he mocked would soon teach him one of the biggest lessons of his life. A week later, Alexander arrived at an international charity gala in Berlin, the same event where elite businessmen gathered to fund educational programs for underprivileged youth. The host announced the evening's special keynote speaker, a young woman who had risen from hardship, dedicated her life to education, and recently launched a project to teach languages to refugee children. The hall fell silent as Lena Weber stepped onto the stage. Her once faded Café uniform was replaced by a sleek navy gown, the same calm grace but now wrapped in confidence. Alexander froze, disbelief flashing across his face. Lena began in fluent English, her voice soft but powerful. When people see waitresses, janitors, or street vendors, they often forget. Every person carries a story you cannot see, pain, dreams, sacrifices, things that can't be measured in euros. She paused, scanning the crowd, her eyes meeting Alexander's for a fleeting second. Some people mock others in languages they think are secret. But dignity, empathy, they are languages the whole world understands. The audience was transfixed. Alexander's face flushed, his earlier arrogance melting into guilt and awe. After the speech, as the crowd erupted in applause, he approached her. This time not as a billionaire, but as a man humbled. You understood what I said, didn't you? He murmured. Every word. She replied gently, her eyes kind. But I chose silence because sometimes silence teaches louder than anger. He nodded, unable to find words. For the first time, his power meant nothing. Lena smiled softly and added, It's never too late to learn a new language. Kindness. The room was silent, then filled with quiet applause. That night, Alexander anonymously donated millions to her education program, not for redemption, but because he finally understood the value of respect. As Lena walked out under the soft glow of city lights, she whispered to herself, From every humiliation, a soul rises stronger. This story reminds us wealth can buy attention, but not respect. Intelligence impresses, but kindness transforms. And sometimes the person you underestimate is the one destined to teach you the greatest lesson of all, that true power lies in humility.